about nobody's perfect. Why is it so toxic to be in a relationship with a narcissist? So a lot of us are hurting. We already know something happened that it wasn't a good idea. um, but in all honesty, first I have a new microphone, so I've tested it, but make sure you guys let me know if you can't hear it. But with the narcissist, even trying to continue or to heal a broken relationship, to work things out with them, that it's so inconsistent and it becomes disrespectful. So we're constantly being disrespected, and people make mistakes. So it's okay to make mistakes. But when it hurts somebody, a lot of times you have to acknowledge, validate their feelings, and they don't like to do that. So we're left in a state of hurt. And we're promised certain things that we can work through. And I saw a video. I'd like to do a reply to that in a sense where, destigmatizing narcissism. And it is important for certain reasons, but it's also important for us to be cautious on what we go through because by destigmatizing it, it can let people be more apt to talk about it, to seek help. But um, we got to be cautious on how we interact with people on that because it's damaging our lives. So when you're moving forward, you have to think, we want to forgive our person. We want to try to understand it. A lot of us still long to go back to that person, but it's so toxic because we can't trust them. And those trust issues are going to fester inside us because even when we go with full intentions on wiping the slate clean, trying a fresh new start, that we get the vibes from them, that we know something's not right. It's kind of cool how we're instinctual in sensing certain things. Like you can sense somebody behind you, or you can sense somebody in the room when you're sleeping. That we become really in tune with the people that are close to us. You even hear women, their menstrual cycle starts to become in tune. We are affected by each other's energy levels. I'm also doing um, an experiment with rice where seeing if words can absorb negative energy or positive energy, just like people talk to plants. And I hope that pans out. That'd be kind of cool. I'm looking for some proof, not just internet proof. So this toxic relationship that we're in, you know, it's it's a whole different breed that you can't trust the person because a lot of times when you do trust them, they go behind your back and then the lies start again and it's just this vicious cycle. The narcissist, because of their lack of empathy, they are more impulsive. They do things centered around them, and sometimes it's hard to grasp, is this really somebody's personality? And you see this adult, they seem to follow a lot of societal or relationship rules, but they're inconsistent. So when can we trust them? Like somebody could go into a store and they only steal once every 3 months, but the fact is that they're stealing and it's at a detriment to somebody else. So even when they try, they go back to exactly what they did in the past. So it affects who we are. It affects our healing process, our brain fog. I just did a video on the different types of chemicals that are in our brain, and we start getting depleted. And that's why it starts getting uh, toxic as well, because we're lacking serotonin, we're lacking dopamine, which changes the way, that we're motivated in life, or our sexual desires, or our ability to function, and we are off kilter, which is causing some mental health issues within us, or we're at least fighting that off. So if you're dealing with rumination, you know, it is important to address what you're doing when those thoughts come into your head. Is it right before you go to bed? Are you jealous of certain things? And, we have to focus on what we're thankful for, because when we focus on the negative, we stay in the negative. When we focus on what we're thankful for, what we do have, what we can achieve, that's when it's going to become healthier for us. So when we're in a regular relationship, we can see that people make mistakes. We know we've made mistakes. We'd like to be forgiven. And this society is becoming a lot more toxic that, a lot of people are discarding other people. And with the destigmatization of mental illness, more people will be helped. And when we um, become haters of the narcissist, there's a difference between hating them and not wanting to be around them, or treating them like a human within reason. We don't have to go out of our way for them. Treat them like any other person. Um, as far as, I'm not going to talk right now, or I'm not interested in that. But when they, this is where it gets tricky. If everybody discarded every narcissist, that's a whole war against humanity, because they're going to get angry, they're going to act out. And it's a real tough balance between, when are we enabling, when are we allowing them to heal, do they even want to heal? That it's ingrained in who they are to be toxic. So, guys, feel free to join in on the chat. Let me know how you're doing and different things that you'd like to talk about, because through knowledge, we really can start to heal. So, I know it can take a long time if we don't start addressing the things that we've gone through. And we have to get to that acceptance place, because a lot of us keep hoping. We keep hoping, but we have to look at what reality is. So whatever is going on today, that's what's going on. And it gets confusing too, because the narcissist a lot of times pops in and out with that hoovering. Sometimes too, we're tempted to do the reverse hoovering, but we have to know how close we get to that lion's den, because from a distance it can be safe. But the closer you get, the more of a target you're going to be. You're going to be the one that they lash out at. And it, their hierarchies in the narcissist's mind, who they're going to respect, who they aren't. But they don't respect their partner in the long run, because that's their supply. And that's what they're after. They become, or they feel entitled. And I've had one straight up say, it is all about me, not knowing, what's really going on in the mind of their family or spouse. Um, is that really how they see it? Or is that how they deal with it, where they just give in? A lot of times when you give in, that's what you're going to get. Just like with a spoiled brat. I see somebody here. Hey, uh, feel free to say hello, but you know, spare the rod, spoil the child type stuff. And Debbie, oh, you almost forgot about tonight. I've been looking forward to it. How you doing tonight? Um, yeah, so is day 41 or 42? What are we on, Debbie? How's it going? Are you able to stick to it? I'm very proud of Debbie. She's gone no contact for over a month. And, to make something a habit, uh, it usually takes like 30 days. So this can be a little bit of some power to you that you've made it through. And I got my new microphone. Let me know if you can hear me okay. 41 days almost, caved. And this is the thing, Deb, that we have to stay strong during this time, because it is an accomplishment. And, we should be proud of that, based on your situation. If you were ever to even understand, does he love me? Does he miss me? Things like that. You'll never know that. You'll never get your answer unless you stay true to the no contact. And it's up to you what you do after he contacts you. That's why I'm glad you're here today, because we're talking about, people make mistakes. And, you know, what's different about the narcissist? Why is it not a good idea always to give them second, third, 18th, 20th chance? Because it's not a stable second chance. They're not going to learn from their lesson. And it's hard for us to detach from that, because we've made mistakes. We can recognize how we hurt someone and make some changes. Almost doesn't count because I didn't. That's right. I call my friend and I'm okay. I can hear loud and clear. Awesome, good. So I don't have to look like Princess Leia. um, that's some pretty cool podcasts today. I did two with a professional MMA fighter, and uh, yeah, some of the stuff that he's seen in the ring, and also, he was a manager at a strip club. And we're going to talk about how sexual abuse in a different video, unless you guys want to talk about it today, about how that can change people. A lot of the mental illness is caused by some sort of trauma, and we've gone through some trauma, and to heal, you know, it'd be a lot easier for the narcissist to help us along the way, but that's when you become codependent. If they're not willing to help us and we can't function on our own, we can't get past this on our own. So, Debbie, are there some certain things that you've started doing, getting out there, doing certain things? Or you sleeping a little bit better? What are some things that have changed in your life? I know it's still hard. It's still hard, but are you starting to see a brighter horizon? Because sometimes when you see that too, or when your body starts calming down. I did a video today on the chemicals. I'm sorry, I messed up with him. What do you mean? You think it's your fault? Is that what you mean? Yeah. Let me let me know what you mean by that, because sometimes messed up means and funny, and it can be taken different ways. Because yeah, I wonder too on my first one. You know, we were engaged to get married, and he just and why is it that you feel it was your fault? And sometimes maybe it is. Maybe it is. But do you think he's a narcissist? Because they'll push us to the point we mess up. You overstepped it. How did you overstep it? Sometimes we feel we overstepped it, but we really did we? I know sometimes we blow their phones up too much, and it pushes them away. I did that, I'll be honest. Like, but that's the thing is like, if they love us, like, why aren't they getting back with us? And we kind of go into freak out mode, But in order for them to truly love us, they have to fear losing us, and we're so loyal that they take it for granted. And it seems so messed up that you would think somebody who is the most loyal is the one you keep, the one you treasure, the one you cherish. But, they could have replied to us. They could have seen that we're trying. Maybe not doing it the right way, but like, hey, what's going on with you? Why are you calling so much? But they'll just be like, stop. And they don't try to understand us. So we got to be careful too on taking the full blame, because two people were involved. So if you're uncomfortable telling me how you overstepped it, I okay with that. But oh, Wombat Arrow is here. Hey, Wombat, how's it going today? I got my new microphone. So yeah, keep me posted on how it goes. That way, I can't wait to tell Lily it's not going to click anymore. Um, So good to have you here. Debbie has made it 41 days, struggling a little bit, but she kept to it. It's good. She called her friend. And Saturday sounds lovely. Good. Okay, good. And yeah, happy Saturday. I'm on spring break right now. My knee's doing a little bit better from that kid whacking it dead on. It hurts so bad. Um, but yeah, today I pretty much stayed home. Tomorrow I'm going to do my grocery shopping. I'm doing this new health journey, nutrition thing, getting rid of inflammation, a little mental clarity things going on. It already feels better. I've been doing it for 2 days. We'll talk about that. Probably start talking about that a little bit more next week, in case any of you guys are interested on that kind of journey and why it's important. Our mind and body go together. So feel free to join in. Let me know what you guys are thinking or wondering about, or how I can help you. But the traits of a narcissist, it's almost impossible for them to relate to us, to foresee what they're going to do. They get caught up in the moment, so they're not going to think things through. They also have such a high rate of alcohol and possibly even drug use. Some of it might be calmer, kinda, like weed or something, but, it affects their thought process. So, are they acting in the right state of mind? And often we might forgive them, "Oh, they were drunk. They were drunk." But it gets to a point where they gotta take accountability for their actions, whether they're drunk, high, or unaffected. Debbie says, "Oh, yeah, I blew it up too. I shouldn't have called him out. Okay, I shouldn't have said anything about his nephew and possibly being his son. I should have kept my mouth shut." But on the flip side, let me scroll down. He's, yeah, so there is a flip side. And I know you're typing away right now, but, you know, a lot of times too, they make us wait so long. A lot of times the timing is off. And that's why I kept trying to explain to the last one is like, I get it, but it was so fucked up on the cadence of it. If you're, you call me and you're like, hi, and then 18 minutes go by, are you going to sit around and wait? Or are you going to start wondering, like, is she there? Should I call back later? Or, do you want to go out to lunch? And then you wait and ask a couple times. And, it's like, is this ever going to happen? And the same with the text messages. There are times that I'll wait a day, 2, 3. Maybe they're on vacation, 6 days, but it's not something you can count on. You can't just say, hey, like if you guys text me, you'll get a text back in 24 hours. I do that with my friends. Sometimes it might be 2 days, if I've been sick, but I've never made anybody wait like 6, 7, 8 months. A covert narcissist, he made plenty of mistakes. Yeah. And that's the thing, like, you know, at that time, this is what happens, Debbie, is you're most likely a lot stronger when you begun this relationship and knew how to handle it. And it was comfortable to you because they made you feel comfortable. They're calling you, they're getting back together, or getting back with your texts and reaching out. That's the other thing, too. They stop reaching out, so we start feeling more and more empty. We get to this needy state, an infantile state that, just like the kids, kids when their parents get divorced, they feel it's all their fault, because we start getting in a state of hurt that we have to protect ourselves. And we're trying to communicate to protect ourselves, to understand. So when it gets to that blow up the phone time, that's when the communication has been so bad for so long that we almost can't take it anymore. It's physically painful. The brain fog, a lot of times we can't function. So, yeah, we blew their phone up, but that's part of the abuse cycles. They brought us to that. And we have to take accountability. We should have walked away. Like, hey, this is my last text if I don't hear from you. But ultimatums never work out. And that's where we get scared. Wanda says covert narcs are the biggest crybabies. I always have to be the hero before because my empathy and compassion. And we got to be careful that we don't enable them. Um, you know, uh, so there's times you can say, look, I got 20 minutes for you. Or, let's talk every other day, touch base. So part of it too is the way we communicate. But a lot of them throw those little fits, make us feel guilty that they tear down our boundaries. And we're not living our life. We feel that we always have to be the hero or be available. But when it's our turn, they're not there. And sometimes, too, even these things that they bring up aren't even the truth, or we're wasting our time. They're not listening to what we have to even say. Debbie says, what do you think he meant by he didn't mean to leave me on? That he led you on? Like, he was probably going with the flow, like, why not? Let's kick it. And then he's like, oh shit, I got in deep and didn't know what to say to you, you know? But, just like if I said, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to call you fat. Well, why would I call you fat if I didn't think you were fat? And by saying that, he knew he was leading you on, because he could say, I'm sorry it didn't work out. That means he was in it, but it didn't work out. So it's piece by piece that you start tearing apart their words so that you can see what they really meant. And I hope that makes sense because, um, He didn't say, "I didn't realize I was leading you on. I thought we were just friends who were kicking it." But by his statements, that's how he said it. That's he knew what he was doing. He knew what he was doing because he would have worded it way different um, than that way. So it means he knew he was leading you on. He saw you getting in deeper and just went with it because why not? You whether it's sex or like maternal things that we'll do for guys, cook them a meal or do their laundry, help them clean up, let them sleep in, and we'll do the house cleaning even if we don't live with them. We do sweet little things that they just take advantage of it. So I know that's hard to hear, but that's not a reflection on you. That's a reflection on how entitled they feel, how greedy they are, how they don't connect with people. And, you know, when you started blowing up his phone, it's kind of like a reminder that, they got to put effort in or, they need to talk. So that's my take, which is 90% sure. I'd say 100, but I'll give some error. But yeah, I think he knew what he was doing. Um, so Wanda, how long have you been away from your covert narc? Because they can be quite vulnerable. Sometimes, you know, um, there are narcissistic tendencies. 2 years free. Okay, 2 years free. Debbie says once he said let's talk once a month. I was like, no. He said twice a month. What the fuck? Yeah, it's okay, 2 years free. Um, he wants to keep in touch with you, just in case. And there are, the narcissist doesn't mind a friendship, because it's a backup plan. If they're bored, they might call you. That's kind of nice that he was willing to commit to something and he's the one that reached out. But we have to be careful when we're friend zone. Do you really want to be in a friend zone? Is that what you want? Is that going to cause you more pain or jealous feelings? And a lot of times too, they won't stick to it. So you're waiting a whole month or 14 days to see are they going to keep up with that? They like to break patterns, and it causes you to have to be strong for such a long time. Um, and then it started getting heavy. Now we're like this. Um, you can even ask them what's your purpose, but um, since you said no, are you committed to staying to that? Because I know sometimes it seems like you're hoping he reaches out to you in a sense that you're still longing for him. If I'm wrong on that, let me know. Because sometimes, we want to heal, but we also, a little part of us misses our person. So, Wombat, has it gotten easier over the 2 years? Are you still kind of stuck in the rumination? And we got a couple other people here. Feel free to join in, ask questions. I'm good at keeping things going. So you guys each get a turn. And yeah, Debbie, this is where it is. Though is oh my God, I'm laughing. I'm so right. I know what I'm talking about. So yep, and at least you're laughing, Yep, I can spot them. I have a seventh sense, not even just a sixth sense. And it's easier from the outside, but I've really sometimes when you're caught up in the situation, it's hard to handle that. But hindsight's 2020, and when I see what you guys go through, I see those little tiny shifts to where I can see where the bullshit is. That sometimes we're like, yeah, but he said, he was so sweet. He said, I'm sorry I led you on. But I look at it the next step deeper. What does that mean? Why wouldn't they have said it this way? Word patterns are extremely important. And the narcissist, some of them are great liars, but some of them are pretty poor because they just word things so poorly, or they think that we're uneducated and stupid. That's that projection, they might not know what they're talking about. They think, this would make sense. And we're like, are you kidding me? That doesn't even make sense. Um, but you know, the flip flopping, we have to really address that. What is it that we really want? And what does that compare to what our reality is? Because you can go, I want to marry him. Okay, well, what's reality? So, do Wombat says, I'm doing good. It doesn't bother me as much at all. I'm just more wise and educated. And that's the thing. We start healing when we start learning about it. And Debbie says, I'm not backing down. He has to come over or else it's over. Is it ever truly over? It is right now. It is right now. Um, you know, if he was going to come back, it's not a good state of mind. And I understand it. I'm not cutting you down, but you're still in a state of longing. You're in a state of need. And I want you to listen to this. Um, because I mean this completely kindly, but it's just a true fact is you're in a state of need and you want things to be perfect. And you see that it could be, but you're in that state of need. So when he comes back, um, any little thing he does wrong, whether he forgot to call because he fell asleep, let's say this is all legit stuff, he fell asleep, and you're gonna be like, I don't believe you, and you don't love me, and you can't even keep this commitment to calling every night or whatever. You're gonna be hypersensitive. He's gonna feel you being needy or questioning, or you're gonna give off that masculine energy. And it usually works when there's the right balance of masculine and feminine energy. That men, you know, uh, it's a different way of wording things where you can let him choose certain things. It's a whole thing we'll have to get into. But he's also at the point where, you know, he's probably not going to like the change. Like, why do we have to talk about this? Or why do we have to commit to so much stuff? Like, I got to call you every night. Can't we just go with the flow? That he's got to come to the point, that he would be like, what is it going to take for this to work? And he'll probably just call and say, hey, you want to kick it? So it's not a healed enough environment to be strong. So work on yourself and it'll fall into place. If it's meant to be, it'll be. If not, it won't because you'll be stronger. You'll be sticking to your boundaries. And that's when you're going to be happy, when your boundaries are accepted. And, there's time for compromise, but you have to make sure it's something you're willing to compromise. Mama says, if you want it to be, you have the choice to end it completely. The Hoover, even way after I got Hoovered before. Yeah, if you want the end to end it, that's up to you. You say you're sticking to it. So our mind is still longing. Our mind is still longing. Our mind is still wondering if it's over. We're not looking at the facts on the table. Can you call him right now and say, hey, I just need a friend? You know, I'm not putting pressure on a relationship, but can we just chat tonight? Or hey, I just saw this great movie and have you seen it? Would he text you back? You know, so yeah, if it's meant to be, it'll come back, and we have to heal in that time. Because then for one thing, we're going to be the person they wanted. They don't want somebody who's crying and we got to process it. I'm not cutting you down on it, but we're different now too, you know. So Debbie says, Wanda, I'll stay silent and he can hoover or he will lose his super empath. And I love you, Debs. Super empath, we got to be careful. We got to be careful on being a super empath. People don't love, it's weird. People do not love things they don't fear losing. And if you want to relate it to, a child, um, you know, like this is how I back up my statement. That's my child, it's mine forever. No, I'm afraid I'm going to lose it, whether it's through, sudden infant death or a car accident. Like I'm afraid of losing my child. So there is fear of losing it. But the narcissist, they don't fear losing a super empath. They just feel it's always there. And just like I got food in my cabinet and I don't even think about it. I know it's there. I'm comfortable. I can go to bed tonight. I got, a pantry full of food. I'm not scared. I'm not thinking. I don't even think about it. Um, until maybe the next time I'm in need. I usually just go to my fridge, but they forget what they have. Just like I forget what's in my pantry. I have no clue what kind of soups or vegetables I have in there. It starts being taken for granted. But when it's in less supply, right now, if I had a can of corn and 2 packs of noodles, I know exactly what I have because that's all I got. So we give them too much and they, you know, take it for granted. So they prey on vulnerability. And right now you're in a vulnerable state. So they control you. They get a kick out of your misery. They get a kick out, because right now he's not calling like, hey, I know you really care about me. And I'm just wondering how you're doing. It's over, but I'm just checking in on you. And even if he didn't do that, if you called right now, you already know he's not going to answer or he's not going to call back like, "Oh my gosh, I was out with my friends. I wish I would have known. I would have answered the phone." He wouldn't get back to you tomorrow either. Easter's coming. I don't know what religion you are, so I'm Christian, but what do you call on a holiday like Easter coming up? Um, so I know you ask, is it ever over? It's It can be. It can be. My daughter's father, I don't talk to him. Maybe at you know, a birthday party for family, but you were going to say he won't answer. And that's the thing where I got to the point where it's like, why do I keep doing this? Because when we reach out to them, we are subconsciously expecting that dopamine hit back. So we put something out there, and then every time we put something out, we're putting more and more and more out that it's depleting us and we're not getting anything back. So we start craving it more because we're more and more depleted. So the more we set ourselves up for failure, the more we're stuck in the cycle and the deeper we get in the cycle, even when we don't talk to them. So, 3 strikes you're out. I mean, how many times are we going to reach out to them? You look at the entirety of the relationship, there is a pattern, you know. And it's weird. A lot of times, when they do fear they're losing us, they might come back. A lot of times, it's to destroy if you started dating. It's Satan doing this to me. And let me ask you why you think it's Satan. Satan is doing the sadness to you or the craving. What is Satan doing to you? And I can help you through that. Um, Wombat, what are some of the things that helped you as Debbie types? What are some of the things that have helped you to get to a better state of mind? You know, because it can be uncomfortable. There are different things that we have to do, though. I'm looking forward to a summer. We can do a lot more activity. I love going swimming, but we had another viewer. I did a video for her and everybody about being mad at God, openness, acceptance, and yeah, you just gotta be open with yourself, open with others, and self love. That is pretty much the only way you're going to be able to move on and get back to your normal life. And it feels so good. Wanda, can I ask you, did you start feeling either lighter, like uplifted, or more focused, or closer to yourself, not so much detached? Frank, how are you? No empathy, no caring, no hearing, no soul, no hurt. Yeah, and that sums it up, so we can we can log off now. Just kidding. Frank, you're right though. Some do have a little bit of empathy. They have a cognitive empathy. There's the cold and the warm empathy. We're used to the warm empathy where it's loving and like truly in tune. They can go, yeah, somebody died, that sucks. um, so they have a cognitive type of empathy. It's a learned, and it's a learned response. If somebody dies, oh, sorry to hear that. We all supposed to say that. And the caring, it's you're right. And no, they don't listen to what we're trying to say. They they listen to defend. They listen to defend, or just give us silent treatment. But They don't understand what we're trying to say. It's so foreign to them. And you were fine, and then you feel him, and you can feel his energy. Yeah, and that's, religiously speaking, some people think, yeah, that is the devil at work. And, since you brought up Satan, as far as a religious way to combat Satan would be through God. So maybe you need to get in tune with your spirituality. Um, you know, uh, and it's weird if you are spiritual, that might be God's way of having you say, which way are you going? You going down this path, or you're coming to me. So sometimes it can be a blessing. If you're religious, it'll bring you back to God if you let it. So all depends on perspective and perception. So Frank, um, have you been doing all right? You going through some rumination or difficulties, or have any questions? The narcissist is Satan's work. Yeah. And, you can be pulled down that rabbit hole, or you can find your strength. And who's the most powerful thing that you know? Wombat says, yes, of course, it gives me a good perspective of life and never to ignore intuition. I'm glad you brought that up. Intuition. We get those gut instincts for some reason, and it's a strong defense mechanism. You know, it's weird how it works, but trust your gut. It's like almost always right. I did give you guys that one example in some videos where mine had said, that his buddy committed suicide, shot himself. And I'm like, yeah, okay. But I looked it up. I felt so bad. But he was telling the truth on that one, but every other time he was lying. So there are times that they'll tell the truth that we think is not the truth. Like I saw the obituary and like everything, newspaper articles, all that. But for the most part, they're lying, and they do it so often. Boy, that cried wolf. Um, so Frank says the last part of the relation, I couldn't feel her heart. Hearts are connect. They are. Hearts are connected somehow. You couldn't feel it. Yours started to have aches and arrhythmias, not feeling well. Wow. So, yeah, I know I had tachycardia, which is where your heart really goes really fast. That can exhaust you. It's also not healthy. Um, there were some heart palpitations, or, erratic uh, heartbeats, skip the beats. And, sometimes we have to rule out things like caffeine can give you the palpitations and things like that. But you couldn't feel your heart. Is that like you couldn't feel it when you're snuggled up to her, or um, hearts? Yeah, they start beating in unison. And I wonder too, when we start going through our stressors, is that kind of what puts us away too, is our synchronicity is off, that we're either getting that tachycardia, the really fast heartbeat, and theirs isn't able to keep up, and so the separation is what happens, and we can't calm down because they're not helping us calm down. Sometimes just that hug, you know you're a Christian, God and I were good. And I hope there's a apostrophe. This is where, and I'm not a stickler. You guys can type however you want, but so I understand when you say were, is there an apostrophe there? God and I, we are good, or God and I were good, as in the past. So please let me know. I don't pick apart grammar or spelling, but on this one, it makes a difference. Um, so if there's an apostrophe meant to be there for we are, type yes. Um, because of God and I were good, it's in the past. And maybe it is time to get back to um, your spirituality. And sometimes too, even, and this is where I hope when I pick apart, you're doing great. Okay. All right. So we are. Okay. Good. And the only reason I pick stuff apart sometimes too is our subconscious. And I'm believing you. I'm not discounting what you're saying. But in other situations, sometimes our subconscious will cause those little Freudian slips and things like that. So that's great to know. Frank says intuitively, something is up, it's over, and the narc stare is given more frequently in every interaction received, also in plain daylight. And yeah, like it's a controlling thing, you know. And a lot of times too, it looks like they're disgusted with us. And we're like, whoa, I'm just trying to live my life. I'm all excited. Like, hey, do you want to go to McDonald's? And I look at you like, why are you so excited? Um, and like you can't enjoy anything anymore. You can't try anything. Um, I got this new dress. I'm looking forward to seeing you. And they're like, it make you feel like you're pitiful or trying too hard. And it's like, oh my God, just trying to be nice. And they misinterpret things. You've seen that stare. I think a lot of us have. Um, some of us too have seen the black eyes of the narcissist, where their eyes, I haven't seen it where the whites of the eyes go black, but um, where the pupils dilate. And we have to remember too, during adrenaline rushes, our pupils can dilate too, but they're so enraged. Calibri is here. Yay. Good evening to everyone. And hello to me, Miss Cynthia. I'm doing better. Yeah, my knee was terrible. So it still hurts. When I bend my knee, the skin on your knee kind of tightens and puts pressure there. I think I'm okay. And see, Kalibi, I got my new microphone. Can't wait to show Lily so she doesn't have to hear my clicking. So I'm hoping that it sounds good. I got one for my phone too. Getting ready for some productions. I just got to learn a little bit more about green screen technology. See, I'm getting all set up for you guys. Got a whole sound system, lighting system, and a little doggy playground in the background. Yeah, you see Dixie's toys? Yeah, not too much. She doesn't play with them. Good to have you, Kalibi. Anything new and exciting at our little soap opera center? Debbie says, I told him once, keep looking like that because your face will crack. That'd be terrible if it did. I know my mom used to kind of do those little phrases. um, One that says, "Get that knee in good shape to roundhouse kick the narcissist." Yeah, and I just did that MMA fighter video, and he was saying, that almost all the fighters are narcissistic. We also talked about exotic dancers and um, how fame affected him as well. And in a sense, the narcissist either becomes their own god or they create their own fame where they have just a bunch of followers, even if it's a small circle. But yes, I will get that knee in shape. I think you heard what happened. I had a kid swinging their backpack filled with a metal lunch pail or thermos dead on in my knee, but it's getting better. Yesterday I couldn't continue on. Last night I had to cut the thing short, the live chat. But I'm good. Clevie says, talking about the narcs, black pupils, and morphed face. Yes, and I want to talk, I think you guys, some of you have heard this, about the morphed face. Clevie, tell me before I continue, the morphed face, what was it? Did it just look puffier or slanted? Or what do you mean by morphed? Because I saw something freaky. So tell me what you saw as a morph. Uh, it is um, it is a sight I cannot erase. I just pray that it does not happen again. Yeah. And have any of you guys seen that morphed face? And I'll tell you mine in a second. Um, Wombat says they create their own world, flying monkeys to enable their behavior and fantasies. Yeah. And they dictate it. They make up stories, whatever it is to get the job done. Her face looked puffed up and his face puffed up and his eyes were dark and different. Now the puffed up could be because of the tension bringing more blood flow, like a higher blood pressure. Um, Interesting. Uh, hmm. But yeah, I haven't. I mean, I might have seen it, but it didn't connect. Um, Interesting, Calibri. I could see that happening though. Um, Frank says yes, the narc stare is frightening as hell. A lot of people are terrified of ever seeing that again. It's different. It's almost like they blank out too. And I've heard of people who black out that they don't know what they did. And I think I told you when Calibri was here, I don't know what the others were. And I've experienced his female partners gave me the narc stare one time. She is frightful. And I think part of it is in nature, there's probably a deeper reason um, that that happens is to exert dominance. Like, if I'm about to be raped or something, I gotta exert that dominance or something like that to where if I was to be frightened that I look different, you know, that scares people off. But eyes like those of a cat when ready to attack. So cats have a slit eye. Is that what you mean? Where the pupil is a slit? Ours are round. Our black part is round, and they have the slit eye. Wow. A lot of times, hmm, that's different because usually the adrenaline will pop it up, but maybe there's something when they black out. There might be a disconnect where the adrenaline isn't working right. Um, Debbie says I've had flying monkeys already following me around. The la- that was last year. Yeah, eventually either the flying monkeys kind of give up, or the narcissist knows his game is up. Kalibi says these narcs don't know that they are manifesting demons, or are they aware? A lot of them get into black magic. That's what I was about to bring up with the face morph that I saw. We also have to remember that our mind is pretty powerful. It creates a lot of um, missing pieces for us sometimes that'll fill in the blanks. But I saw this guy. He was into dark magic, had an altar, like an atheist. He was into astral projection. He, I don't know. He says that he was able to do it, but his face. He said I can change my face, and I'm not into werewolves. Like I don't watch like Buffy the Vampire or any of that stuff. But his face turned into a werewolf. It sounds so weird. It makes me feel like I'm crazy, but was that my mind expecting it to turn into something? I don't know why I would have pulled a werewolf. Um, who knows? Maybe it was my imagination because he had me stare. He's like, just stare, and you'll see my face change. Didn't say what it was supposed to change to. Um, and I don't know. Is that just the power of the mind? It's pretty scary, so I looked away. But it was it was really weird. Um, and sometimes, is that our mind, or did that really happen? I know the other people in the world probably couldn't have seen it, but was there some uh, third plane where he could communicate that with me? I don't know. Wombat says I got rid of the whole cycle, cutting off the flying monkeys and family. It hurt like hell, but I had to move on to self-preserve myself. And that's the thing. Like if they're willing to change or willing to give you credit where credit is due, maybe we can work through it. But if they're not going to believe our truths when they are truths, and if they're willing to hurt us, you know, we're just going to keep being hurt, and we shouldn't subject ourselves to that. Calibri says, a side note to the flying monkeys, they will be Narc's next target or the victim. Excellent point. Yeah, because now they need somebody new, and they'll either get pissed that you didn't do the assignment correctly, so now it fucked up what I wanted, and now you're the target. Or, the next sexual exploit type thing. When the narc runs out of emotional supply, they will be next to be discarded and abused. And um, what is it that you didn't know, Debbie? You never knew that. That was a smear campaign. Did I miss something? Uh, okay, so yeah, the smear campaigns can hurt because a smear campaign is when it's not based on truth. Like if they're gonna say, you're a piece of shit, you cheat, or you suck at finances, whatever it is. Not that it's kind to say things, but um, if it's true, it's true. You got to own it. Sometimes the truth hurts, but smear campaigns, oh my gosh, um, it's you lose people, you lose friends, you lose family members, job opportunities. Mike says, I believe those are eyes of someone possessed. I have commented in other channels. I had recurrent dreams of fighting a dark spirit that wanted to kill me or take me. Once I was away from her, that stopped. I had some creepy tingle feelings. And yeah, interesting. Yeah, we don't know that outside realm, of we know what we believe. I've experienced like some ghost type things. Not I've seen some weird things. Um, but yeah, I always wondered if sometimes when people go through schizophrenia with all the different personalities that they get, like you hear Sybil spoke really good French, and she I think had minimal French, um, and you know where all these come from, you know, and were you fully asleep, Frank, or was it like um, sleep paralysis, or what do they call it? Shadow people? I don't know if you guys have heard of shadow people. Kalibi says, or the flying monkey started to wake up and see the real narc's real monster like persona. That's true. Like, I'm not doing this shit anymore. Doesn't happen all the time. Sometimes they do, yeah. And then they'll get pissed that they lost their blind monkey friend. Debbie says, Frank, I had a dream like that a few months ago where I was tied, tied up and the devil was trying to get me. I woke up and thought, what was that? You're feeling really bound right now and you feel it's evil. Um, and you want to break free from it, but you know, it's interesting that what you saw in that presence was the evil. Um, and it could be your mind telling you to get rid of the evil, and then you'll be free. You know, uh, if you still living with the narc, um, rephrase that. If are you asking if I'm still living with the narc, or if you are still living? Debbie is not with the narc, if that's what you're asking. Um, so you were fully asleep. Okay, so it wasn't like sleep paralysis or things like that. You woke up yelling. So yeah, some nightmares can be terrifying. Those are called night terrors. And I'm not discounting it. I'm just asking a question. Are you on any medications that might affect night terrors? Things like now I'm at a loss for the name of it. I want to say Celebrex. It's not Celebrex. Um, Anti-smoking. I want to say there's a C in it. Can't remember the name. Um, you never surrendered to that bad influence. Yeah, and fight it off. Because sometimes too, it's like, is it real? Is it just a dream? It gets scary. I just saw. I'm so bad at names. Inception. I just saw the movie Inception with Leonardo DiCaprio, and that's all about like dreams and dream levels, and that was pretty wild. Um, but yeah, don't surrender to that bad influence. Wombat says flying monkeys are a lot of the time other narcissists are a lot of the times other narcissists. Yeah, because you know, uh, they need enabling all the time. So yes, they have other narcissistic friends a lot of the time. I witnessed this many times, and yeah, you can witness that because birds of a feather flock together, and they do the same kind of things, and they get a kick out of the same kind of things. So they can be good friends, but they'll be ruthless too. And it could be CPTSD, complex post traumatic stress disorder, a flashback at night, that um, you repress that's it's trying to get out. A lot of times, too, this could be our bodies telling us what we need to process through, you know, that we might feel trapped or, um, you know, we feel unsafe. And Kalibi says flying monkeys are sometimes narcs of a lower level, praising the top dog narc. Yeah, they're usually the ones underneath. Yeah, they're usually not as strong. They want to fit in with the top dog, so they're willing to do certain things. And other times too, they might think it could be an empathetic person that they think they're doing a favor. You know, um, can you do me a favor and bring this picture of my uncle over to my friend? And you're like, oh, okay. And then it's like trying to triangulate because it's actually a boyfriend instead of an uncle, and I'm trying to fuck with my ex's mind. But you think you're doing a favor because of whatever reason. Debbie says, I wouldn't be surprised if the narc is in a cult. Yeah, I'm doing research on the different cults and how they encapsulate, envelop their people is through the same thing that the narcissist does. Is they do that intermittent thing, make them believe it's going to be the most safe thing where um, they can completely trust those people to take care of them, and then they get into that state where they've given up everything, and it just messes with their mind, and you can see how sadly effective it is that, with David Koresh and the Haley Comet kind of thing, or the drinking the um, poison Kool-Aid, how many people, and you would think somebody would be like, hey, they're crazy. They want us to do what? Um, and it's sad how many people, giving up their daughters. 7-year-old daughters are being married off. Oh, you'll wait till she's 12? Well, okay. Um, it's sad uh, that they just own the people, and yeah, these people will be willing to give their lives to somebody who's just using them. Jim Jones started the most infamous cult. Was Jim Jones the one with the Kool-Aid? I think he was. Um, he was a communal. Yes, I need to do a video. Thank you on communal narcissists because that's yeah in big groups. It can be cults. It can be religious. A certain church being a little shady. Um, um, Political leaders and yeah, communal. Thank you for that. Kalibi says, "Are these flying monkeys are in the narc's fog. They are all brainwashed. I was there. I know I am not a narc. I have empathy. I believe in honesty, and I know I am not perfect." And yeah, the narcissists, they wouldn't as openly say that. I know I'm not perfect. I know I'm not perfect because they'll do everything in their power. Uh, Honesty is key because even little tiny lies, it's weird how it changes everything. Even if they're kind-hearted, you know. Um, Kalibi says, and these narcs play with black magic. That's why they can control people. How do you guys feel about black magic? Do you think it's really effective? Is it something that's really out there? I know, like with tarot cards and Ouija boards, I know Ouija boards work. And I've had some uh, creepy experiences. This one lady was doing it all by herself, and she knew so many secrets about me. I never met her. Um, and then I had this feeling on my arm, and instantly she says, "See, I can touch you, I can feel you," and it's like I didn't make a move. She's not even looking at me, and this thing is spelling out. And yeah. Plus, I think I was 12, 12 or 14. I think it was I don't know, 12 or 14. But I was, it starts flirting with me. You're so beautiful, or whatever it said. And I'm like, oh, and I'm like, what am I thinking? I'm flirting with a Ouija board. I'm taking that as a compliment. It was the weirdest thing. Rain Spirit is here. Good to have you back. Um, how are you doing, Rain Spirit? And good to have you. Uh, And Debbie says, I've been in the fog several times. And that's part of I think I missed a thing about CPTSD. Where was that one? Uh, oh, I did read that one. Maybe the dream was CPTSD. But Debbie says, I've been in the fog several times. Brain fog can be crazy. We have a harder time remembering things, concentrating, problem solving, processing things, higher order thinking. We start having a real hard time with that. Debbie says, Kalibi, he plays mind games on me a lot. I was okay for a few days, and there it was again. And um, let me know how you feel he's playing mind games. Is that when you're talking to him or when you're not talking to him? Kalibi says it is. I sort of played with the female mark here. So she is so attracted to the crystals and books that I have. Mm. Interesting. She is familiar with the functions of each crystal, so I hung a carrot on her face and I caught her. Um, you mean a carrot size? I think you mean carrot, the food. Um, you caught her. Was she trying to steal it? Let me know what you mean by I hung a carrot on her face. Um, Frank says there must be some kind of influence, mental influence. I believe it's real. And, um, you know, it's creepy. It'll mess your life up. Don't do it. But it's such a light touch and it feels like it's being pulled and you could say it's the other person, but it's not. It's not. Um I and yeah, if you guys would like me to go into it deeper, I've talked about it in a different video, so I don't mind re-saying it, but I'll let you guys ask. Frank says there must be some kind of influence. I agree. But it's it's more than us moving it with our mental Debbie says, Frank, I believe it too. Debbie says, you really want to hear what he does to me out loud. LOL. Yeah, it is. If you're not comfortable, you don't have to. But, you know, I'm trying to understand what you're going through. Because when he messes with it does mess you with your mind that they're not getting back to us or that they're not saying what we want them to say. But we have to realize what is our mind, what is outside influence, and that's just going to help us heal. So I'm just trying to understand because it does mess with our mind, but is it them doing it or us allowing them? So I hope that makes sense. Frank says narcissists are obsessed minds, and this mental condition gives them influence. Empaths, we are good receptors, can sense it. Yeah, we can definitely sense it because we are so in tune to other people's feelings, how other people should normally react to certain things, and a good communication. We see through certain things. Like I kind of love you. Why'd you say kinda? And little things like that. Like we know that that means something. Sometimes if they're like I kind of you can see if it's nervousness, but body language paired with words can make a huge difference. And either way, it's just so toxic. It's so draining, and it gets confusing. If we were with a normal person, we wouldn't be going, is it demonic? Is it this? Is it that? We'd be like, okay, it didn't work out because they wanted to go to a football game every Friday and I didn't want to, or whatever. We can see what went wrong, but the in and out, I love you, I don't love you, and I love you, but then they get in your face. Frank says narcissist. I'm sorry. So yeah, they definitely can be obsessed. Kalibi says, I think you've missed my posting before, Debbie. Um, hmm. See the black magic that you played with the female monarch here. She is so attracted to the crystals and book that I have. She's familiar with the functions of each crystal, so I hung the carrot on her face and I caught her. That's what I got. Oh, if it goes up further. Oh, I think so. Okay. And these flying monkeys are in the narc's fog. They are all brainwashed. I was there. I know I'm not a narc. I have empathy. I believe in honesty, and I know I'm not perfect. Please retype it if those are not your statements, or redirect me so I can answer or comment on what you were trying to say. Sorry about that. So, our minds go through hell, and it becomes physically painful to us, and we're trying so hard to get back in balance that Sometimes, we're not thinking straight because of the brain fog, because our neurotransmitters, our brain chemicals are not getting to where they are, that we're depleted in those. Just like our nutrients, if we're depleted in nutrients, we're not going to have energy, we're not going to function. And I missed yours. What's going on, guys? Oh, um, I see you say you really want to hear what he does to me out loud, and I say, "Yep, I do." And I'm read the Calibri, he plays mind games on me a lot, and I asked if you think it's an outside. So you've been in the fog several times. It does cause that, and I wouldn't be surprised if the narc is in a cult. Oh, so do you think he's in an actual cult? Sometimes, what's the definition of a cult? Is it, six buddies ganging up on people, or a full fledged one? They could want to be so accepted that they could be brainwashed into that. They can be brainwashed too. Um, or some of them might be lazy. Like, if I join this cult, I don't have to work. I'm completely taken care of. I'm going to go off the third from the bottom. Gosh, I don't know what that counts. Oh, I've read everyone about the. This is the way my mind works when you say you have to retype it. I see third from the bottom, but third from the bottom is Frank. I believe it too. Oh, where'd that come from? That wasn't there, was it? Um, yeah. So Debbie believes it too. Okay, that wasn't there. I swear it wasn't. I don't know. Just sleep. Um, Sorry about that. Frank says I had our kids living with me. She didn't take care of them, and when I took them, brought them home, I started feeling the Shinark influence. Peace comes cutting the attention to that. Hmm, interesting. Hmm. And the she narc. Okay, sorry about that. The she narc. Now I understand. Um, yeah, and that's why I'm doing that little rice thing to see on the energy. Is it transferred to where, even just in certain buildings you feel negativity, or you can sense it in the children, the dark spirit, says Frank. Yeah, the energy has to go somewhere. And that's why, if you think about it, when we send out positive vibrations, it's going to send that frequency back. Just like if I gave a big push, the reaction, if you ever see like the tide and things like that, how um, strong it is. So the more we have positivity, the more force is going to come back with positive. But if we're just doing a little bit of push towards our positivity, that's all we're going to get back. And it's weird how it works. Debbie says it's between Frank and Calibri. I have literally, it makes it hard because I got to read through everything and I don't know which one I'm looking for because I have so many between. I don't know which one I'm missing. Yeah, I'm sorry. If it's okay, I'd appreciate it if you retype it. Otherwise, it kind of breaks the flow up, and I try to address every single one. Um, but when I can't find it, uh, I'm, it'd make it a lot easier if you could just retype it. I know it's kind of a pain, but um, you called her that way. She narc. Kalibi says, I've mentioned before that my super narc friend could not even look at my Catholic altar when he visited. Yeah, some people won't. Yeah, they feel that powerful about it. They want to hear nothing about it. They don't want to. I'm gonna have to ask you, Debbie, to retype it because from the bottom and people click in, and I don't know if that counts the one that you just did. So if you could just please retype that for me, it helps. I know you don't like doing that, but I it makes it really hard. Um, so yeah, if it's not what they believe, they kind of feel a weakness to it, or a pull that they don't want to feel pull. So they don't even want to deal with it. And Frank says, I pray more often and ask God to deal with her. It's pretty sad to know this is real. And, that's why I'm saying that. And I love you, Debbie. Hope you're not mad at me. Um, so, sometimes is this a learning lesson? Is this to bring us closer to our God? And it's a hard lesson to learn, but, do we start, in a sense, idolizing the narcissist? Because we kind of did. A lot of us drift away from our faith at that time. We're so wrapped up in them. We um, do become isolated by the actions that they take, but it's also actions we take. And um, some narcissists will go to church, but they might be lonely and want to be a part of something, or for image. If everybody else is going to church, okay, I guess I got to. But um, I wonder how deep their faith is, how consistent their faith is. And um, people can change, people can, but um, it's I don't know what people feel, you know, um, is what people feel, and they are content with what they're doing. They take the easy route. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 is Calibri says, I think you missed my posting before Debbie's. If I go one more up, it says narcissists are obsessed minds. If I go down one, it says Cynthia, you missed mine. So I'm just going in circles with counting up and doing all that stuff. So um, I can't find which one you want. I don't even know what word it stands for. So sometimes if you give me even just so I know what I'm looking for, because it's real hard to keep it going. So yeah, Frank is saying, Debbie, share your experience. Because I'm not trying to be dismissive. It's just really hard to keep with the flow, and I got other people who watch this. So free advice. So if that's what it takes, that would be appreciated. So um, we've been through a lot. And Frank, did she ever ask you to do like odd things that were outside your character, like trying to bring you to the dark side? Or, I know Calibri's had some experiences with a lot of narcs, and, Debbie's going through a lot. I'm so proud of you, though, Debbie, for 41 days, no contact. And Debbie says, Frank, like, what do you want to know? So Debbie is asking Frank what he would like to know. And this is what I like about this is that we're getting to know each other. I just posted something for John. We haven't heard from him in a little while. Hope he's doing okay. That we have a really rock solid community. That I know I'll be on spring break this week. So if you guys would like to meet daily, let me know. I don't mind logging in. It seems that later in the evening works out for our different time zones, but it helps me know when you guys are available. If 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time works, that's a little late for me during the school week, but I don't have school. I am still teaching online, so I do still have to wake up somewhat at a normal hour, but not quite as much. That is your decision, Debbie. Yeah, so we want to make you comfortable, but we had talked about the things that he does to you. You know how he kind of gets in your mind, and um, well, let me ask you this: if you are still longing for him, because I know sometimes you're like, "I'm done," but you also say, and I'm not cutting you down. It's just something I'm observing that if he came back, he, it's on him type stuff. So, what would make it better? What would make you trust him? What would make you feel that his words were the truth and not just bullshit? Debbie says, "I have known the narc almost 9 years. We were friends." And Frank says the ex was into tarot, into Wicca. Yeah, Wicca's a different thing too. You know, uh, eh, yeah, my friend's husband, he was Wicca, and he had that on his dog tag, and that's where they want to have control over things. You pulled her to Catholicism, and did she stay that way? Did she stay? Debbie says, "No worries, Frank. My life is an open book." And yeah, the tarot to me just seems like too much of a luck of the draw. Same with those. Um, I've had some psychics that have said some things that are dead on, like what the heck? And those are people that don't know you. There's a lot of scam artists out there too. So, if you are religious, it's always best to go to the light and shut the door on the dark. Uh, because it's easier to be tempted to do the wrong things, you know. And you typed it twice and I missed it twice. It must not be coming through. Can somebody else type it for me? Because I don't know why it's not coming through. I put it on live chat instead of top chat. So all of them should go through. I don't know, Debbie. Is anybody else seeing the messages that I'm missing? Because yeah, to me, I'm reading everything that you've typed and even scrolling up. I'm sorry, Debbie. I know that's probably frustrating for you. But if somebody else sees what she's talking about, please type it for me. Frank says, "I never watched tarot or Wicca as something bad. Narcs use everything for their advantage." Um, and, you know, uh, yeah, whether it's good or bad, the narcissist will definitely use it for their advantage. Um, and that's why a lot of times they'll sell their soul. They just want things to work out their way, you know. And we have to, even when we do our prayers, that we pray the right way, that we don't try to manipulate God. This is what I want, even though I have done that in the past. Um, but, to say, um, such as, that the right husband comes my way as opposed to a particular person that God's trying to remove from your life. Um, you know, she was also into astrology, and they're searching for answers. They're not happy, just like us right now. Um, you know, I don't know you guys' daily schedule, but how many hours are you watching videos? And are you listening to me and other people, and um, just trying to get everything you can for some answers? And that's a lot of times too, is they want something to create their reality. They're grasping at straws. I don't know how effective these things are, but um, I don't know what angiology is. I don't know. Anagrams? Like pentagons? What's angiology? I've never heard that. You taught the teacher something. So you are our A+ student for the day. I think Calibri was last time. Sorry. It's Frank's turn. Oh, sorry. Angel's lore. Okay. Hmm. Wow. Yeah. I don't know, guys. They're wanting to control their life, and they're going through whatever they can. Um, All the things of angels. Are they fallen angels though? Uh, I don't know very much about the angels lore, angelical lore. And I see you say Catholicism, so that might be why I'm not exactly connecting, because the Catholic Bible has, was it 9 to 13? How many more extra Bible or books in the Bible? Um, that might be where it's from, that I'm not connecting with it. It's pretty similar, Christians and Catholics, but there's some differences. I guess cats didn't help. Oh, I'm not seeing it. I feel terrible, Debbie. Maybe if you log out and log back in. That's about the only thing I can troubleshoot. It didn't come through. Cyn- Cynthia, hold on. This is what I have from you, Debbie. No worries, Frank. My life is an open book. Then you say, Cynthia, I typed it twice and you missed it twice. LOL. So you're being nice, which you always are. And then the next I have from you, I guess caps didn't help. So I don't know. Maybe if you have like an internet glitch, or I don't know. You've had problems a couple times. I did reach out to the help desk. So they said it might have something to do with your upload or internet speed. I believe they said upload speed, but it was something with the internet exchange. So if you have not the quite highest internet speed or some, that was like a couple of weeks ago that I reached out to them, and I said it in live chat that night, but it had something to do with possibly the internet, because everything they checked out when I reached out to YouTube was everything on my end was working. So I don't know. I even asked if there's way, could it be hacked or all those kind of things? Because you've had problems a couple times. That might be your internet. I don't know if you're going over mobile data. That might have something to do with it, instead of the internet. I'm just trying to troubleshoot for you. Sorry, it's not coming through. Are you just doing mobile data? That might be it. Frank says, I'm from Mexico. I don't know if there are those cults or topics in the USA. Um, I'm sure there are. I'm sure there are. Uh, I can see that happening. I'm just not involved in them. So yeah, and greetings all the way from Mexico. Our studies from all the biblical angels. Anyway, those are like entertain. Um, hmm. It just all are like entertainment. Okay. You went out and came back. Okay. So hopefully that's working. I don't know if you heard me say it might be because you're on mobile data instead of internet connected to Wi Fi, or if you have slow internet. That might be a possibility of why it's not working. So please, let's try it again. And if not, hopefully, um, I don't know, hopefully it gets better. Esoteric studies. Oh my goodness, all these big words. Kalimi says I could answer that, Frank. Yes, these narcs where I am are in a cultish environment. So yeah, you'll see that, and there's definitely cults in America. There's gangs, there's cults, there's just movements, I guess you could call them, movements for people to have their way. I don't know how else to word it, but we are going to log off for tonight. I'm going to ice my knee a little bit more because it's not quite used to a full 2 hours, 3 hours hanging down. But thank you guys for a great conversation, and comment if there's anything that you guys would like to discuss. If you'd like to log in tomorrow, please let me know. And Debbie, I'm sorry for that. If you can type it real quick, I'll hang in to see if it's coming through. You went out and came back. I don't know what. And it's so weird. Like it's probably frustrating you, especially if you've dealt with a narcissist where you're like, is she telling me the truth? I am. That you're like, but that one came through. You know. I don't have an answer for that. So your stuff's not coming through. The guys haven't said that they've seen what it is that I'm missing. So lots of love to you guys. I will log in tomorrow, and lots of love to you. So Frank says, blessings to you all. Bye. And I hope to see you again. We'll be on tomorrow. Kalimi says, I could tell because I am an outsider. And Debbie says, good night. So that one comes through. And yeah, being an outsider, we can tell. Lots of love to you guys. See you soon. Sleep good. And stay strong, Debbie. I'm so proud of you. We got this. We got this. And, when to find the true answers, just gotta let it play out and not force or manipulate it. And that's when the true story will come to light. Tonight helped. I'm glad. And I hope to see you tomorrow, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Lots of love. I love those sunflowers. Bye, guys.